Yep, so we are, well, I found the video. Surprisingly enough, it seems like the US as well are pushing for a two-state bullshit madness, and it's of course it's ridiculous. So I was going to sleep, and I think the UN, the United Bullshitters Security Council, whatever. I haven't really figured out a good name for that, but anyway. Um, yeah, the United Nutcases. Yeah, I think the United Nutcases of absolute madness is here in this video, and it seems to be 3 hours and 19 minutes, and this is like the round table, and a lot of people around and so forth, and they are preparing for this council. Now, I was seeing some of the Cairo. I didn't see it all because it was not easy to really. But I saw enough of bullshit. One thing is that here we go. We see some tables here or whatever in regards to the round thing here, round table here. The Mozambique or something like that. I think it's the Russian Federation, Switzerland, United Emirates or something like that. I think United something Arab Emirates, United Kingdom is there. So well, as far as I know, England is pushing the two-state bullshit as well. I think they're probably all satanic Freemasons that are pushing this. Absolutely ridiculous. And you have the States just next to United Kingdom. It's very hard. I don't know why it's flickering so much in regards to just moving. You would think that the quality of like a camera or but apparently they can't even alley something. The quality is I can't understand why the quality is so bad. Albanian or something like that. We have someone there which I can't see. We have Brazil. We have the president of, and we of course have all these extraordinary great titles of these bullshitters, right? I think we also Israel was there, but I haven't seen. We have China, Ecuador. I can't see what this is. Just next to the president. Yeah, he's like, gotta be kidding me with the. We have France. Apparently, France is there. Just the best. I don't think the quality will change anything in regards, the resolution. No, no, no. Actually, just made it worse. It seemed. I don't know why, but it's just like, the when they are going around, it's just terrible. So France, Ecuador, China. I can't see what that's. We have when the camera stops, it just wow. It just. But you would have thought they actually had a camera that actually. Gabon and Ghana. I haven't seen Israel. Where's Israel? Should be Israel, but I guess there's some tables over to the left, which we haven't seen. It's like a horseshoe, and they have this screen. Oh, France, China. Apparently, they also have it on the other side, so the person themselves can see where they are from. I guess that's very important. Whatever. I'm kidding, whatever. But anyway. The sign is on both directions. So when the person sits there, he can see, oh, I'm from France. Oh, yeah, I forgot, Oh, I'm from the United States. Well, I'm from England. Oh, yeah. Well, anyway. I guess it's not a bad thing in regards to both directions and all that. And, yeah, I guess you have a lot of important people, whatever bullshit. So we would like to actually see the other way in regards of the nations on the other side. I think I saw Israel. If this is hopefully it's the right one I have. Let's see here. It was PPS News Hour from 20 hours ago. Yep. So this was a live stream, but apparently the camera is absolutely rubbish, so they can't even have a camera moving a little around. You would think in our days of world that would sort of have been fixed, but apparently this news hour apparently didn't get a good camera or something like that. Here we have the police of the meeting, whatever, who goes around and looks and looks and looks. Yeah. Anyway, so people are sitting down at the moment. But as far as I understand it, Israel was actually there. I don't know if they're actually, if they're going to speak. Because, I would be interested in what Israel actually would be saying to all these bullshitters who are pushing the two-state nonsense. And even the US and I think England as well was pushing this absolutely disgusting. Oh, do
The 9,000.
Oh yeah, we have the Brazil president.
451st meeting of the Security Council is called to order. The provisional agenda for this meeting is the situation in the Middle East, including the Palestinian.
We have some lagging, lag, or maybe a
question. The agenda is adopted.
Agenda is adopted. Now
I would like to warmly welcome the Secretary General, distinguished ministers, and other high-level representatives.
Distinctive ministers. They have all these glorious titles, extraordinary titles in
representatives present in Security Council chamber. Your presence today underscores the importance of the subject matter under discussion. In accordance with Rule 37 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure, I invite the representatives of Algeria, Argentina, Australia, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Belgium, the plurinational state of Bolivia, Cambodia, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Cuba, Czechia, Egypt, Finland, Germany, Guatemala, Hungary, Iceland, India, Indonesia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, Iraq, Ireland, Israel, Italy.
I would go with Israel at least. So they are there, but I think actually Israel got a seat down at the table.
Jamaica, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Libya, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Malaysia, Maldives, Mauritania, Mexico, Morocco, Namibia, the Kingdom of the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Pakistan, Papua New Guinea, Peru, the Philippines, Poland, Portugal, Qatar, the Republic of Korea, Saudi Arabia, Sierra Leone, Slovenia, Spain, South Africa, Sri Lanka, the Syrian Arab Republic, Thailand, Tunisia, Turkey, Ukraine, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, and Vietnam to participate in this meeting. It's so decided.
Well, Denmark apparently wasn't there. So
I propose that the Council invite the Minister of Foreign Affairs and expatriates of the observer state of Palestine to participate in this meeting in accordance with the provisional rules of procedure and the previous practices in this regard. There being no objection, it's so decided. On behalf of the Council, I welcome His Excellency Riyad Al-Maliki.
All right, so now here we go, I guess, with Phagistinian or something like that. State of Phagistinian. Oh, we also have Malta. I wonder if Malta is that. I wonder if that's actually a country or the Knights of Malta. But anyway, I guess it must be a nation.
With Rule 39 of the Council's Provision Rules of
I guess Israel might be sitting on the other side, but we'll see.
Procedure. I invite the following briefers to participate.
It seems like the president guy is in the background of the Phagistinians.
Participate in this meeting. Mr. Thor Venesland, the Special Coordinator for the Middle East Peace Process, and Ms. Lynn Hastings, Deputy Special Coordinator for the Middle East Peace Process, Resident Coordinator and Humanitarian Coordinator for the Occupied Palestinian Territory. It's so decided. In accordance with Rule 39 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure.
Oh, we have Israel. next to some everything, whatever. Extras, you seem to be sitting with a group of, I think, five. That'll be interesting if he gets to speak.
I also invite the
I
following
hope he says. I hope actually. I would hope he would just do this. Tuesday bullshit. Can you see this? Can you see those? Can you see those?
individuals to participate in this meeting.
I'm very democratic. Just showing my opinion. I'm just. Isn't that the whole point of it? Just show your opinion, right? Instead of all these smooth words and all
His
that.
Excellency, Mr. Sheikh Nyang, Chair of the Committee on the Exercise of the Inalienable Rights of the Palestinian People. His Excellency, Mr. Olaf Skog, Head of the Delegation of the European Union to the United Nations. And His Excellency, Mr. Ahmed Abulgait, Secretary General of the League of Arab States. It's so decided. I also propose that the Council invite His Excellency Archbishop Gabriele Caccia, permanent observer of the Holy See to the United Nations, to participate in the meeting in accordance with the provisional rules.
Do we have the Antichrist? Let's go a little back here. Was that the Antichrist we just heard? Now, of course, it's all in regards to the Antichrist and his satanic pyramid. So they're pretty much just looking into his satanic world at this moment of his bullshitting servants and all that of the nations.
It's so decided.
And what is this here? What he says in regards to
I also propose that the Council invite His Excellency Archbishop Gabriele
Archbishop. Oh, His Excellency. Blah.
Caccia, permanent observer of the Holy See to the
Permanent observer of the holy, unholy fakery bullshit, like the Holy See.
United Nations to participate in the meeting in accordance with the provisional rules of procedure and the previous practices in this regard. There being no objection, it's so decided.
Objection! But I guess they didn't even have, that was quick, right? If there's no objection, so be it, right? Hey, objection!
No objection, it's so decided.
I don't know, maybe they did it beforehand, but that's like, you only have, a couple of seconds? Hey, objection!
Rules of procedure and the previous practices in this regard. There being no objection,
objection!
So decided.
Again, hello, there's no time for people just to think about it. Hey, what did he say? Oh, objection. I don't know if this is the little period thing where you can actually object to it, or if they already did that beforehand or something like that. But it seems like, yeah, that's already, it's fixed, no objection, no. If there's any that's too late, we're running. I don't know. I haven't, I'm not really following along with a lot of the garbage and all that, but there's apparently people have to be very quick for the objections. Could you actually do the objections on the other way? Or again, I don't know if they have taken the objections already. And throw the papers out, Throw the stinking bullshit of Fager out of the meeting. But anyway, of course, it's all theirs. This is the Roman Empire,
The Security Council will now begin its consideration of.
I can't remember if they actually talked about, if any objections before that. But anyway, I wonder where this bullshitter is sitting. He should be sitting somewhere, I would think, down at the table thing. So you have all the peoples out there, and then you have this horseshoe thing, and full of. I think, Israel, I think, is sitting on one side of the horseshoe, and the Philistinians are sitting on the other side of the horseshoe. And there seems to be one end of the table on both sides that doesn't have anyone sitting there. Interesting. Why would they actually? Israel should probably, no, let's see it. No, actually, I guess they're sitting on. I guess it depends on how you look at it. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's just in regards to the right side and left side and all that, right? But yeah, if you look at it from here, Israel is sitting on the left side on things, and the Philistines are sitting on the right side of things. You kind of, I don't know, but I guess it depends on how you actually look at it, right? From what direction? Because if you look at on the other side, it actually on the right side. I guess I might be a little too much in. But yeah, if you looked at the people, you would normally see this is the right side, right, and this is the left side, and then they would be sitting on the wrong side of the ends. I think because Israel would be on the right side. I would think. In regards to things, right, instead of all these Philistines who are on the left brain side, right? But anyway, whatever, maybe.
Item 2 of the agenda.
Okay.
I now give the floor to the Secretary General, His Excellency.
So here is the Secretary General Brazil, President Brazil, and you see the Under Secretary General. Apparently, that must be the guy that is nice now. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's the president's. Okay, maybe that's missing someone. I'm not sure, or maybe he sits there, but there's the Under Secretary General. It's really in the Secretary General, the Under Secretary General, and then there's the president. I guess it's the president is speaking now. And then you have Brazil, but maybe the Brazil is the president at this meeting. Maybe that's because they're put together, it seems. So maybe that's
Antonio Guterres.
Mr. President, with your permission, I would make a small introduction and then ask my colleagues to brief the Security
Council. So this is the Secretary General, the General
Council on the situation on the ground. Excellencies.
Oh, Excellencies.
The situation in the Middle East is growing more dire by the hour. The war in Gaza is raging and risks spiraling throughout the region. Divisions are splintering societies, tensions threaten to boil over. At a crucial moment like this, it is vital to be clear on principles, starting with the fundamental principle of respecting and protecting civilians. I have condemned unequivocally the horrifying and unprecedented 7 October acts of terror by Hamas in Israel. Nothing can justify the deliberate killing, injuring, and kidnapping of civilians or the launching of rockets against civilian targets. All hostages must be treated humanely and released immediately and without conditions. And I respectfully note the presence among us of members of their families. Excellencies, it is important to also recognize the attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been...
Yeah, because we need to look it in context, right? Yeah, I have a context. That's the context. Oh, that's the context. Okay. Yeah, maybe you should read this, little guy, Huh? Before you talk about context, let's do the real context. It's just right here. But anyway, you don't want to go so far,
Subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation.
Did you hear that word? Occupation. Let's try that again, right? Let's see.
Subjected to 50
years of occupation.
In a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of
56 years of occupation. What does that make the Israelites, or Israel, if the Philistines are occupied? What does that make the Jews? Oh, occupiers. Oh, is that true? Oh, that was the context, right? What was the context of it? Oh, boo, 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 boo. I guess guess they don't read the Bible so much,
suffocating occupation.
And when they talk about, well, we accept Israel as a state and all that, but they're still occupiers. Ah, really? Yeah. Okay, they are in their own land. They're in their homeland. They came home to their homeland and found it full of bullshitters. They with weapons that didn't uh, wanna give up the occupation of their homeland. In regards of the Israelis' homeland, right? The Israelis went away from their home, and then they came home again to the house, and they found the house full of people, of occupiers with weapons who didn't want to let them in and have their house back, their rightful house. Anyway.
They have seen their land steadily devoured by settlements and plagued by violence, their economy stifled, their people displaced, and their homes demolished. Their hopes.
Maybe they should go home to Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and other nations where they originally are coming from, and leave the Jews alone. Yeah, just a suggestion.
For a political solution to their plight have been vanishing. But the grievances of the Palestinian people cannot justify the appalling attacks by Hamas, and those appalling attacks cannot justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. Excellencies, even war has rules. We must demand that all parties uphold and respect their obligations under international humanitarian law. Take constant care in the conduct of military operations to spare civilians, and respect and protect hospitals, and respect the inviolability of UN facilities.
I guess that was like a little jab for the hospital bullshit, that happened with the misfire of their own misfire. So again, however many people it was, this and that, in regards of hitting outside the hospital, in the car park, however many it was that died at that period, it was a misfire. So, so let's see here. This is just an interesting thing, which seems to be of future things. Although I'm still trying to piece out the puzzles, right? But it is interesting in regards of what they're sitting here and doing, right? For look, in those days and at that time, when I turned back the captivity of Yehuda, in regards to the Jews, and Jerusalem, in regards to Jerusalem, then I shall gather all Gentiles or all nations, probably the word Goyim in Hebrew, and bring them down in the valley of Jehoshaphat. And I shall enter into judgment with them there for my people, my inheritance Yisrael, whom they have scattered among the Gentiles, which would probably be nations, Goyim in Hebrew, and they have divided up my land. What did they do? They have divided up my land. That sounds like what they actually, these bullshitters, these international bullshitters are doing in regards of dividing up the land. Now, in regards of, I don't have sorted out all the puzzle pieces and all that, but as far as I understand it, this is a future prophecy. But anyway, let's go on.
Which today are sheltering more than 600,000 Palestinians.
Fakestinians, okay? Fakestinians, okay?
The relentless bombardment of Gaza by Israeli forces, the level of...
Yeah, what can we do with that? Okay, the Jews are angry after the 7th of October, Roman time. Wasn't it October? Which actually means 8, but anyway. September, October, November, December, 7, 8, 9, and 10, because it's a corrupted calendar of Roman bullshit. But anyway, so the 7th of October, the Jews kind of have been kind of angry after that, just a little bit pissed off after this. And what could have been done with that? Yeah, there's a nation called Mitzrayim, Egypt, and they could have opened up their borders for these people who want to flee, but they have done the exact opposite, because they seem to run a show that they want to help, but really they don't really want to help. They seem to be doing the exact opposite, right? And then they had this huge so-called peace bullshit and all that, where they didn't want to talk about the solution because that was a red line, as they said, because that would actually solve the issue. And we don't want to solve the issue. We don't want to actually lessen the conflict in the Middle East. We actually want to pour more fuel on the thing, Yeah, sure, you might get some peace for a little time or a little while, and then boom, That's the same thing in regards of Gaza, right? Oh, you have a little time with some peace, right? And then boom, rockets being fired and all that, and yeah, there we go. It's just the peacetime is just like a preparation for war with Israel, That's we have peace. No, it's just those, they're just preparing for the next encounter.
Civilian casualties and wholesale destruction of neighborhoods continue to mount and are deeply alarming.
Yeah, it's this.
I mourn and honor dozens of UN colleagues working for UNRWA. Sadly, at least 35 and counting, killed in the bombardment of Gaza over the last 2 weeks. I owe to their families my condemnation of these and many other similar killings.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible what happens to people on both sides. But Egypt is as it's the most wicked component of all this, because Egypt could have opened up their borders. They talk about, we have all this aid and all that. Well, keep it on your side and open up the borders for those people who want to get out. No, we can't do that. We can't do that. Because that will solve the issue, and we won't have this two-state bullshit being able to push that for further conflict and all that. But, I've been thinking about what could make the Jews actually accept this bullshit of these international, insane people and all that who want to divide the land of Israel. And that's one thing. That's one thing that could make the Jews maybe consider this bullshit. And that would be if they were allowed by the Mohammedan world and the rest of the world, but primarily by the Mohammedan world, that's primarily those who are standing against it. If the Jews were allowed to build a third temple, if they were allowed to do that by the Mohammedan nations, maybe some of the Jews would actually consider this bullshit, that would be like a thing that could go, and who knows what these Roman Freemasons have thought out in regards of plans and all that. They seem to be wanting to go in regards of a two-state solution, so-called solution, and I don't know how they can even talk about that. It's absolutely ridiculous after what just happened, because what happened the 7th October is just a small drop in the bucket of what the Mohammedan nations want to do with the Jews. They want to make the whole land of Israel red with Jewish blood and make another Holocaust. While they deny the first Holocaust, they want to make their own Holocaust imprint in history and drive the rest of the Jews into the water, into the sea. These bullshitters, they might be deceiving a lot of people and all that, but not all, So, yeah. So how these things are going to go by what they have planned behind the scenes in regards to the shadow government, which is Roman. Uh, it's the Roman Empire that rules the world. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's like you see the $1 bill, right? And you say Novus Ordo Seclorum, New World Order in Latin letters. And you have the whole pyramid and the papacy at the top in regards to the all seeing eye, giving dominion and power by the devil. And next, you have, the papacy is the head, and the Jesuit general, is the neck. And then you have the rest of the satanic system. Anyway, let's go on.
The protection of civilians is paramount in any armed conflict. Protecting civilians can never mean using them as...
And that's another word for civilian is a non-combatant person. But of course, we don't want to just talk English. But anyway, so these non-combatant persons could leave into Egypt if Egypt and the rest of the world was actually, if they actually cared about these people, If they really wanted a solution, there's the solution. Egypt, open up your borders and let people through. Take this issue away from Israel. But you don't want to. You want the conflict. The Mohammedan nations want the conflict. They want the conflict. And, you can't, people will use the word Arab and all that. And, many of these people might be Arabs and all that, but not all of them. In regards of Persian, in regards of Iran, as far as I can see on the data points, are mostly Persians, not Arabs, but Persians. And of course, Iran and Saudi Arabia have kind of a conflict going because they're two different kinds of Mohammedans, although both of them pretty much can agree in regards to Jewish things, although maybe not on the surface, but it's Mohammedanism, and Mohammedanism tends to, love hating the Jews. Yep, it's a thing, it's a thing. Like Roman Catholics love hating the Jews as well, it's a thing. It's a devilish thing that people love hating the Jews, although the Jews might not make it easier to. But anyway, it's a thing that people love to hate the Jews, Uh, yeah, this is one of my things that I don't understand, that some of the Jews, when Christians from all over the world are coming to support Israel at Sukkot, and then some Jews like Tovia Singer will go against that. I don't understand it. You don't have enough enemies in the world, already. Here these people are coming to support you, and you just piss on them pretty much. I don't understand that. I really don't understand it. But hey, yeah, because they're coming to tell you about the Jewish Messiah. Oh, that's just so offending, right? I just don't get it. Anyway, it's like they're not coming to kill you guys, It's like they're coming to show you the support. I know it's not all Jews, and some Jews actually do value that Christians are coming from all over the world to show their support and all that. And you would think that while most of the world wanna kill you and murder you and all that, it might be somewhat nice that some people are coming to show their support for you. You would think, right? If I was a Jew and you have all these people, running around, saying Allah, Allah sausage, whatever. Yeah, so it might be nice to actually have some people that actually want to come and show their support for yeah. Anyway, of course, yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
Human shields. Protecting civilians does not mean ordering more than 1 million people to evacuate to the south.
Wait, oh, here we go with the. Are we not going to want to do that? Is that what we're not going to? Is that the red line? Or let's try that again.
Similar killings.
Mm-hmm.
The protection of civilians is paramount in any armed conflict.
I ever go with the Arab thing and all that, but anyway.
Protecting civilians can never mean using them as human shields. Protection of civilians protecting civilians does not mean ordering more than 1 million people to evacuate to the south.
I guess they're talking about the flyers of the Israel Defense Force and all that to move south and all that. Well, you know, it's to not have them. They're kind of trying to do the best that they can do, not to have any civilian casualties. In regards of non-combatant people and all that, and Israel is just trying to do the best that they can do to do that, and it's not easy. They have it's like it's a it is a small area with a lot of people. So, but they have different practices, SMS to people. They've done flyers, calling up people on the phone, the knocking on the building door thing, where there's a small explosion on the top of the building to tell people, hey, you need to get out now, because we're going to bomb the building. And I also see them aboard one of these things where they knocked on the door, and it ended up all these people came to the building instead. So all these civilians came to the building. So it's like full of civilians, or full of people, and they ended up aborting it because they didn't want to, have too many casualties in regards to that. So it actually did the exact opposite of what they were warning these people. And instead of running away, the people came to the building and just, anyway.
Where there is no shelter, no food, no water, no medicine, and no fuel.
Yeah, I have a solution for that. It's called Egypt, open up your borders.
And then continuing to bomb the south itself. I'm deeply concerned about the clear violations of international humanitarian law that we are witnessing in Gaza. Let me be clear, no party to an armed conflict is above international humanitarian law. Excellencies.
There we go, excellencies.
Thankfully, some humanitarian relief is finally getting into Gaza.
Yeah, because let's not have it outside of Gaza in Egypt. So all those people who actually don't want to be part of the conflict could actually flee to these places, and all the international aid could be, fixed to Egypt, and Egypt, by the support of the rest of the world, could be supporting this as a first pit stop before getting naturalized into Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, or other nations where they are original coming from, Okay?
But it is a drop of aid in an ocean of need.
Yeah. So let's open the Egyptian borders and let those people out right now. But apparently, they have been able to do it for a long, long time, and Egypt apparently just wanted to play the evil hand,
In addition, our UN fuel supplies in Gaza will run out in a matter of days, and that would be another disaster.
Like, how much area does Egypt have right down in the south? Lots of area that they could use for this, right? But they don't want to do it. And that's one main reason why they don't want to do it, and that's because they can't make further conflict for Israel if they do it. They can't push the bullshit idea of absolute depravity of a two-state solution, which apparently it seems like that the whole world, or these bullshitting people that thinks they represent the nations and all that, they apparently just push this garbage,
Without fuel,
It's like we take the thing that we shouldn't really speak about, but yet we're going to speak about that as the only solution, as the U.S. bullshitter said, which probably is coming further down the line. But we don't want to talk about the real solution, because that's a red line according to Egypt and Jordan, and we can't talk about that, because that would actually solve the issue. But we don't want that. We really don't want that.
aid cannot be delivered, hospitals will not have power, and drinking water cannot be purified or even pumped. The people of Gaza need continuous aid delivery at a level that corresponds to the enormous needs.
Yeah, and the problem is with the aid going into Gaza is that it could actually end up in Hamas, in the hands of Hamas. And I cannot understand Israel why they wouldn't just allow these things to happen, because they don't want to support Hamas. They want to wipe up Hamas totally. And yeah, I should probably have installed that application where you could hear the rockets still being fired and all that, and from Hamas and inside of Gaza. And it's like, oh yeah, yeah. Apparently Israel to just accept that, rockets on a multitude, a huge amount of rockets being fired into Israel all the time. Apparently Israel just should just accept that. Apparently.
And that aid must be delivered without restrictions. I salute our UN colleagues and humanitarian partners in Gaza working under hazardous conditions and risking their lives to provide aid.
As you know, how do you make these people in Gaza have a better life? Egypt, open up your borders. Give these people a chance for a better life. That's the way to do it. Like you want to have Israel pull out of the so-called West Bank, like they did in Gaza. Pull the Jews out, right? And then make another state that can terrorize the Jews. And now not only from Gaza, but now from a whole area of the West Bank. Are you insane? It's like, what is wrong with you people in regards of the two-state solution is already there. It's called Jordan. Anyone who wants a two-state solution can go to Jordan. Okay, go to Jordan. Go to the king of bullshit. And like talking about the red line and all that. Go to him. That's the two-state solution.
Aid to those in need. They are an inspiration. To ease epic suffering, make the delivery of aid easier and safer, and facilitate the release of hostages, I reiterate my appeal for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. Excellencies,
I would call for an immediately opening up of the border of Egypt. And not only the Rafah, crossing and all that, but multiple places for opening up for non-combatant people to move into Egypt and get the aid they need, and also have the possibility of a much better life. This is something that a lot of the Mohammedan nations, with the so-called Western nations, whatever you want to call them, could actually help this thing, and sort it out. But that's not what they want to do. That's not the right direction they want to do. They want to do the opposite.
even in this moment of grave and immediate danger, we cannot lose sight of the only realistic foundation for a true peace and stability.
Did you hear that? Let's try again.
We cannot lose sight of the only realistic foundation.
The only realistic foundation for
a true peace and stability.
For two-peace stability.
A two-state solution.
A two-state solution. Are you kidding me? You're sitting there and pissing on the Jews, You're pressing out a filthy turd, a filthy pope into the toilet, that is smelling so bad, It's like, that's the only solution. That's the only solution. Oh, really? That's the only solution? No, it's a bullshit movement. It's like the Nazi final solution. Preparing further murder of the Jews. Conflict and murder and butchering and all that. Yeah, like the Nazi final solution. I think that's pretty much that's what they're preparing for, as far as bullshitters.
Israelis must see their legitimate needs for security materialized. And Palestinians must see their legitimate aspirations for an independent state realized in line with United Nations resolution, international laws, and previous agreements.
Yeah, like that's what I think the Jews should tell the international community. I really hope this guy that from Israel, if he speaks and all that, that he just tells them to pretty much, in a nice way, to just give it this, just give them, just sit, yeah. Can you hear? Can you see this? Yep, this is what you get. Two-state solution. Are you kidding us? Did you just see what happened on the 7th of October? You want more of this? This is no solution. Yeah, I really hope. I really hope this Israeli guy are going to tell them some tell them some things in regards to that bullshit. Actually, something in regards to the U.S. guy is actually, as I understand it, a Jew as well, but I'm not entirely sure. But I think he actually was, and then he pushes a two-state. Give me a break. Anyway, it's hard to have all the things in the air and all that, but we can see the agenda. Okay, might not be easy to have all the smaller pieces and all that together, but we can see the overall picture is that pretty much nearly every nation that I've seen is pushing this bullshit. I haven't seen a nation that is not pushing this garbage. Even the US and I think England is pushing this garbage. It's just outrageous. The only thing that you can think about is that they are all Freemasons, and they're now pushing for a next phase of their plan. That's the only, why is no one actually standing against this? Why is no one speaking? Hello, this is not a solution. This is just further, a final solution, a Nazi final solution. What about talking about the real solution? No, that's a red, that's a red line. What? Who decides if it's a red line? You decide it's a red line? Yeah, Egypt and Saudi, give me a break. That's what we could talk about in regards of help from the international community to help this go, smoothly. It's a solution, but you don't want to have it, Oh yeah. Now something in regards to the Egyptian president, he has 2 months to the next election, and maybe the Egyptians wouldn't actually be so willing to have him actually help out and all that, so.
And finally, we must be clear on the principle of upholding human dignity. Polarization and dehumanization are being fueled by a tsunami of disinformation. We must stand up to
not only disinformation, lots of bullshit from these bullshitters,
forces anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim bigotry, and all forms of hate.
It's called the Mohammedans, okay? Mohammedans, okay? And I'm not sure it's bigotry when you actually just tell the truth about Mohammedanism, but want to butcher the Jews and make a bloodbath. And just this little thing on 7 October was just a little thing, a little droplet of what they really want to do with the Jews. Don't give me this blindness of bullshit and all that. We've seen again and again and again the hatred that can go against the Jews and what absolutely atrocities that can be done against them. You want peace, a peaceful solution, all that. You open up the borders of Egypt and you let these people out. Whoever wants out at the first, it will be the first step in the right direction to open up the borders, get those people out that wants to get out in this conflict. Let Israel go in and fix Hamas, and then take it from there. And Jordan could say, come, all of you people in the West Bank, sell your stuff, see if you can get a really nice price, sell it to the Israelis, come over here, have a new life, and be naturalized into the Jordan society as rightly so. Being the two-state solution. Yeah. What about helping Israel out, What about helping the Jews to have some peace, It's kind of, you have enemies all surrounding them and you don't want to help them out, One single nation in the world is Jewish and you want to piss on them and make a huge pope into the toilet that just stinks so awful, Maybe we should wash him out,
Mr. President, Excellencies, today is United Nations Day, marking 78 years since the UN Charter entered into force. That charter reflects our shared commitment to advance peace, sustainable development, and human rights. On this UN Day, at this critical hour, I appeal to all to pull back from the brink before the violence claims even more lives and spreads even further. Thank you very much.
I thank the Secretary General for his briefing.
So now we have the Brazil president again.
I now give the floor to Mr. Thor Venneland.
Mr. President, Excellencies, members of the Security Council, I thank you for your sustained attention to the grave developments unfolding in Israel and the occupied.
I'm not sure who this guy is. He has a United Nations flag, with him, but I guess I don't know who he is.
Palestinian territory, particularly in and around Gaza. In light of the horrific violence of these past weeks, allow me to begin by expressing my most sincere condolences to the thousands of families in Israel, Palestine, and across the globe who are in mourning, in shock, and in profound pain. This includes the families of 35 UN staff killed in Gaza. The abhorrent attack launched by Hamas on 7 October and Israel's devastating, ongoing military operation in Gaza have taken a staggering toll on civilians and deeply shaken Israelis and Palestinians alike. As I told this council last week,
You mean the celebrations that the Philistines had afterwards, Anyway.
and the Secretary General has just expressed, the events we are witnessing are unprecedented. They risk expanding to the wider region and may have profound long-term impact on the dynamics of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Mr. President, on the morning of 7 October, Hamas and other Palestinian armed groups launched a large-scale complex assault on Israel. The unprecedented attack saw an estimated 1,500 Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad militants from Gaza infiltrate some 20 Israeli communities and military facilities in the Gaza periphery, by land, sea, and air, while thousands of rockets were launched towards central Israel, including Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Testimony and evidence emerging from the tragic day reveal a sickening killing spree, designed to terrorize, with appalling scenes of brutality, massacres, hostage-taking, including against infants and young children. In all, Hamas and other Palestinian militant groups killed over 1,400 Israelis and foreign nationals, the bloodiest attack in Israel's history. This includes over 1,000 civilians, many of them women and children, and over 360 security forces personnel. Over 5,400 Israelis were injured. At least 220 civilians, including women and children, as well as soldiers, were abducted and taken into Gaza Strip as hostages. While not confirmed, Hamas has said that 22 hostages were killed by Israeli strikes. I welcome the release of 4 hostages and recognize the important role of Qatar in this regard. To the families of hostages, some of whom are with us today.
Like 4 hostages, and the question is, why did they release those 4 hostages? Actually, it seems like when people are talking about, I saw one saying that, well, the reasons why they are releasing the hostages is because they have issues. No, I don't think that. I think they're actually just doing it to keep the headlight going in regards to, the world. Oh, that's 2 hostages, okay, and then the world is like, oh, 2 hostages was freed, right? And then 2 hostages more, oh, and then it keeps the world, the eyes of the world on this conflict, and that's what they want to have. And they want, this 2-state solution. It seems like the world is just working with Hamas in regards of pushing bullshit on the Jews, It's just you gotta be. Oh, they just attacked you and butchered you and all that. Oh well, let's have a two-state solution and take your land and divide Israel up and just hand it over to the Philistinians, right? And then we can get all these so-called refugees, right? And they could just be put in there who have a lot of hatred against you people, right? But no worries and all that because it worked so good last time in regards of Gaza when you pulled out, gave them, gave them over, so they could do whatever they did, and that seemed to be become kind of not so good, right? And then we go with the ongoing conflict and all that. You think the Jews want more of that? Let's just hand over the West Bank, right? Get those Jews out of the so-called West Bank, and let's just give it to these people who hates us, and let them make more of an issue for. I don't know. I don't think so. It really, yeah. The only way I could see that again that the Jews would ever accept this was if the Mohammedan nations told them, okay, if we get the two-state solution that we want so much, right? You are allowed to make the temple, your third temple and all that, and have that. So that's the only way any negotiation could ever go in regards to that bullshit. You can't just say to the Jews, oh, we'll just take that land from you and we'll just fill it up with these so-called refugees and all that, and a lot of people that hate you and all that, and make another terror state and all that so they can make more conflict with you and all that. That's not going to work. The Jews would, rightly so, be giving them these, and saying, no way, not a chance. We're not going to give you any inch of our land, okay? This is the chosen land. This is given to us by God. You have so much Mohammedan land out there and multiple nations, out there in regards to Mohammedanism. Go there. Go, move out, move out. Let the Jews alone. Give them some peace.
Today, the fear and uncertainties you have had to endure is unimaginable. As the Secretary General and I have said repeatedly, your loved ones must be returned to you immediately and unconditionally. Heavy fighting between Israeli forces and military.
I wouldn't think that Hamas would actually release those 200 hostages at the same time. Again, as far as I can see, but anyway, I don't know how these madmen, are, thinking. But if I were just thinking about why they would release 2 and 2, it would be to keep the world eyes on Hamas, on this conflict, and try to do what they where they want to have this going. And so I don't think they would release all of the hostages at one at the same time. They want to drip it out, in some sense. That's the, at least if what I think in regards to what they want, that would be the logical thing in regards to that. But we'll see, So now we have 2 and we have 2, and who knows if there's going to come 2 more and 2 more or whatever. We'll see if they're going to do that, because it would keep the eyes of the nations further locked into this thing and engage, and that seems to be, as far as I can see, what they want. Because again, all these bullshitters are pushing two-state solution, right? Two-state bullshit. Anyway.
Militants inside the Israeli communities continued until 10 October when the Israeli Defense Forces said it regained control of the perimeter fence. Over 120,000 Israelis were displaced from the area. Hamas and other Palestinians were displaced from all of the perimeter fence. Over 120,000 Israelis were displaced
120,000
from the area. Hamas and other Palestinian militant groups in Gaza have continued to launch indiscriminate rocket fire from Gaza into Israel.
Yeah, it's not like they stopped sending rockets into Israel, right? It's not like, we made a mistake here. We're kind of sorry about the 7th of October. It went way out of hand. No. No, we're sending rockets still. Yeah, we're just still sending rockets into Israel. You know, well, no, no, they're just continuing with the conflict.
Israel, reaching as far as north as Haifa. To date, according to Israeli sources,
Yeah, Haifa is one of the northern cities that's at the ocean, and you go up to nearly the top of pretty much Israel, if I recall correctly. That's Haifa. I actually haven't been there. That's actually one of the places I should have gone to. That's multiple things I actually still, that I would like to see. I guess if I ever go to Israel again, but we'll see.
7,700 rockets have been launched.
Mr. President, how many?
7,700 rockets.
The 7,700 rockets has been fired from Gaza, from the Gaza Strip.
Have been launched. Mr. President, on the day of the attack, Israeli Security Cabinet declared a state of war for the first time in over 50 years, with the aim of, quote, the destruction of the military and governing capabilities of Hamas and Islamic Jihad.
Hamas.
Quote. That same day, Israeli forces began a massive bombardment of what they said were Hamas sites throughout Gaza. Israeli air assaults in the Strip.
And clearly, there are still problems because they're still getting rockets fired into Israel, right? So so it's still ongoing.
Has continued to date with some 5,000 such sites targeted, according to the IDF. On 8 October, Israeli Minister for Defense announced the complete siege of Gaza, blocking all entry of goods, including electricity, water, food, fuel, and medical equipment. The airstrikes have been devastating and resulted in a staggering number of Palestinian fatalities, a vast number of whom are civilians. Thus far, the Ministry of Health in Gaza has reported over 5,000 Palestinians killed, including 1,100 women, 2,000 children, as well as journalists, medical workers, and first responders, with more than 15,000 injured.
Yeah, and while Israel is trying to keep the numbers low, the Palestinians love to put these numbers forward to the world. Look at how evil Israel are. They're killing the civilians and all that, while Israel is trying to keep that as low as possible, trying to hit those military places. It's like it's disgusting. It's just so. But yeah, Egypt could just open up her borders. Open up her borders, let those people pass through Egypt, and thereby get a lot of people out of this area that is being bombed, that is in conflict. If Egypt, if the international nations, and if they're really concerned about helping people, they would press Egypt to open up her borders and help Egypt as much as possible in regards of these people that would be naturalized into Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and whatnot, okay? Where they originally are coming from, and to one-way direction out of Gaza so they can get a better life. I don't know how many of those people in Gaza that actually wants a better life, but it sounds like it could be a lot of people that just wants to get out of this area, don't want to be part in this conflict, just want to leave. And one way to do that, Egypt, open up your borders. That's the solution. And Jordan, again, could open up their arms, telling all those people in the West Bank, come out, come over, sell your property, get a good price from the Israelis, and come over to Jordan and get a good life, get a lot better life, be naturalized into Jordan or wherever you want to go and all that. You have the possibility of multiple Mohammedan nations and so forward, where your family are and all that. You can go there and so forward. Let's leave the Jews alone. Might actually give you a great blessing in regards of, having Israel, as a partner in things in regards of helping you on a lot of levels, in regards of technology and such things that could make the lives of a whole many people a lot better in the Middle East.
It is estimated that hundreds more lay dead or injured under rubble as rescue effort languish amid continuous airstrike. Over 1 million Palestinians have been displaced. The level of physical destruction has left entire neighborhoods in rubble, and critical infrastructure.
And by the way, just remember that there's people of Jews in the north that has been displaced from the north, and then of course you have the displacement of the Jews from the the Gaza thing, around the Gaza thing. So you also have a lot of Jews who have been displaced because of this war and things in regards to the north and all that. So it's on both sides that you have a lot of displacements, a lot of issues, and yeah. But again, how could we help this situation? Hello, Mitzrayim, let the Egyptians get those people out. Let them open up, and Jordan as well. Jordan could help as well. Open up for these people in the so-called West Bank. Tell those Philistinians that come over here. Come over here and have a better life. Come over here. We'll sort something out so you can get a better life, and and it could be in regards of international support to help these people get relocated away from the land of Israel. Anyone who want to go away should be allowed to do so.
Has been destroyed or damaged. Schools, including UNRWA schools and hospitals, many sheltering displaced Palestinians have been hit. Displacement levels are unprecedented. Compounding the destruction from airstrikes, the humanitarian impact has been immense.
Yeah.
In this regard, I welcome Egypt's facilitation to open Rafah border crossing on 21 October.
Oh, yeah, let's hear that again. That actually sounded like a very, very good idea. Finally someone saying something in regards of it.
The humanitarian impact has been immense.
Yeah.
In this regard, I welcome Egypt's facilitation to open Rafah border crossing on 21 October and reiterate the humanitarian assistance needs to flow.
It's just in regards of I guess he's just giving the thumbs up for Egypt to open up in regards of I thought it would actually just open up the borders in regards of getting the people out, but apparently not.
Destruction from airstrikes, the humanitarian impact has been immense. In this regard, I welcome Egypt's facilitation to open Rafah border crossing on 21 October and reiterate the humanitarian assistance needs to flow safely and continuously into the Strip.
Sorry, too bad. I just thought that there might have been something, positive in regards of actually that he was actually proposing Egypt to open up their borders for people to get out, But, sadly, that was not the case.
I echo the Secretary General's appeal for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. Lynn Hastings, the humanitarian coordinator in the OPT, will report in full on the humanitarian situation on behalf of the Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator, Martin Griffiths. Mr. President, the risk of significant further deterioration in the situation of the occupied West Bank or spillover of the conflict.
Did you hear that again?
Martin Griffiths. Mr. President, the risk of significant further deterioration in the situation of the occupied West Bank or spillover of the conflict in the region remain significant. Violence in the occupied conflict. Martin Griffiths. Mr. President, the risk of significant further deterioration in the situation of the occupied West Bank or spillover.
There we go. Occupied West Bank. Yeah. Yep. And of course, when he says occupied, he means that the Jews are occupying the West Bank. He's not meaning that the Philistinians are occupying the West Bank, right? No.
of the conflict in the region remain significant. Violence in the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem, already at worrying level, has increased since the outbreak of the war. Israeli authorities have imposed widespread movement restriction and conducted extensive arrests. High number of daily clashes and armed exchanges between Palestinians and Israeli security forces and settlers have been recorded, as well as settler-related violence and Palestinian attacks against the Israelis. Since 7 October, 93 Palestinians, including 27 children, have been killed by ISF or settlers, and one Israeli security personnel was killed in an armed exchange. Large demonstration in solidarity with the Gaza population took place in cities across the West Bank, with some leading to confrontation with Palestinian security forces. Meanwhile, across the blue line, and amid heightened rhetoric and actors on the ground, intermittent but intense exchanges of fire since 8 October. Hezbollah, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad have launched rockets and anti-tank missiles towards Israel, while IDF responded with artillery fire and airstrikes, leading to casualties on both sides. On 13 and 20 October, 2 journalists were killed. Palestinian militants from Lebanon have also made several infiltration attempts, the most significant on 9 October. Over 80,000 Israelis have been evacuated from homes, and some 20,000 Lebanese have been displaced. On the Golan, the Israeli Defense Forces responded on 10 October.
Oh yeah, by the way, I heard something in regards to, was that Lebanon that was talking about that? Lebanon seemed to want to take back the golden, what was it called?
Displaced. On the Golan, the Israeli Defense
Golden High, I can't even remember what it's called and all that. I think it was Lebanon that talked about that, in regards of getting back. So not only is it the West Bank that these people want to take from the Jews, right? They also want to take the Golden Height. I think it was Lebanon, but might be wrong in regards to, but I think it was Lebanon at the Peace Council, I think it was, that talked about that, that the two-state solution is the only thing, and give back the, in regards to the Golden Height. I think it was the Lebanon in regards to the Golden Height. And that's a reason why the Israelis have the Golden Height. See, Golden Heights. Oh, Heights. Yeah, there we go. Heights. Lebanon. I think, yeah. Let's see here. I think it was one of the wars where Israel took the Golden Heights. And it might, I can't remember if it was Lebanon or Syria. It's either one of them that, but if I recall correctly, it was one of the wars that actually where they lost it after having, been in war with Israel, and if you tend to since the 6-Day War of 1967, the western 2/3 of the Golden Heights has been occupied and administered by Israel. Yeah, we go with the occupied again. Wait a minute, wasn't there a war? Oh, there was a war, right? What happens in a war? Well, you tend to lose, land, It's like every time these bullshitters try to attack Israel and all that, they tend to lose land, Apparently they haven't learned the lesson, and apparently they seem to want to further make conflict. So I think it was either the Lebanon guy or maybe the Syria guy, but I think it was the Lebanon guy that talked about that. Not only the two-state solution where, where we just want to rip out the West Bank and give it over to the Palestinians, we also want to take the land of the Golden Heights, away from the Jews. Because after that, the Jews will be having, that's reasons why they have these areas in regards to defense, because they're surrounded by multiple nations who want to kill them. And the Golden Height is like a high point to keep everything, so you have the high, what do you call it? The high mount, or whatever it's called, the high place, which strategically is important to have. And there's the same thing in regards to the West Bank. There's things of that nature in regards to defending Israel and all that. So there's some reasons why. But anyway, let's see here what we. So that's the Golden Height. Did I do? Did I lose the video? Yeah, I think I did. Oh, there we go. There it is. But yeah, it's just But that was another thing. So not only do they want to take the West Bank, they want to take the Golden Heights as well. And again, I think it was Lebanon. It must have been Lebanon or Syria, one of these two that actually talked about it. But I think it was Lebanon talking about that not only the two-state solution we want to go back to, and we also want the Golden Heights as well, right? Has to be handed over, right? Because they are occupiers, these Jews, right?
Forces responded on 10 October with artillery and mortar shells towards what they said were a number of launches from Syria towards Israel. Syrian state media reported Israeli air attacks on 12 and 22nd October targeting the international airports of Damascus and Aleppo, and on 14 October, Aleppo International Airport. UNDOF continued to engage with both parties, urging them to exercise maximum restraints in respect of their obligation under the 1974 agreement on the disengagement of forces. Mr. President, the Secretary General has been very clear in expressing the UN condemnation of the horrific attacks by Hamas and others on 7 October and deep alarm of the scale of Israeli airstrikes and scope of civilian casualties and destruction in Gaza. Over this past week, the Secretary General and I have been pursuing any and every opportunity to address the situation on the ground and to prevent further civilian death and misery. It is critical that we, as a united international community, employ all our collective efforts to end the bloodletting and prevent the further expansion of hostilities, including in the region. The stakes are astronomically high, and I appeal for all relevant actors to act responsibly. Any miscalculation could have immeasurable consequences. In this regard, I welcome Egypt's convening of the Cairo Peace Summit on 21 October and the efforts of the state in the region and beyond to address the unfolding humanitarian catastrophe before us and to pave the way for unlocking a real and serious peace process. Mr. President, these devastating events are not divorced from the broader context of the occupied Palestinian territory, Israel.
There we go again. There we go. Occupied territories, right? Let's go back in.
Mr. President, these devastating events are not divorced from the broader context of the occupied Palestinian territory, Israel, and the region, where dynamics are deeply intertwined. The unresolved conflict and continued occupation shaped the reality of every Israeli and every Palestinian. For 15 years.
I'm sure they would have done the same effort if Israel had lost one of the walls and the Jews were driven out of Israel, right? I'm sure all those nations would have done, all their effort would be put into. I don't think so. Nope, I don't think so. It's like a double standard. They attacked Israel again and again and again, and they lost land. So how can you say it's occupied territory when you have all these so-called Arab, nations, Mohammedan nations attacking Israel and wanting to wipe them out, and they lost land,
Years, the Palestinian.
Now you want to take it back from them,
The Indian population have been living under militant rule and a strict closure regime as the Palestinian divide hardened. For a generation, hope has been lost, and despair has prevailed for those who see prospect for a more peaceful future pulling still further away. Only a political solution will move us forward. The steps we take to address these crises must be implemented in a way that ultimately advances a negotiated peace and fulfills the legitimate national aspiration of Palestinians and Israelis, the long-held vision of two states in line with UN resolution, international law, and previous agreements. Thank you.
I thank Mr. Vennesland for his briefing, and I now give the floor to Mrs. Lynn Hastings.
Mr. President, thank you for this opportunity to update the Security Council on behalf of Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator Martin Griffiths.
I guess, was that the guy that we just heard? Apparently we just presented to what he was afterwards, I guess,
At the outset, I want to welcome the release of 2 hostages on Saturday and another 2 yesterday. We are grateful to the Arab Republic of Egypt and the Emir of Qatar for mediating their release, and to the International Committee of
You gotta be kidding me.
Red Cross for facilitating. However, the more than 200 hostages still being held must be released without condition or any further delay. We welcome all diplomatic efforts to secure their release and demand that, in the interim, they be treated humanely and be allowed to receive visits from the ICRC. As intense airstrikes continue to rain down on Gaza, and as indiscriminate rockets fly into Israel, death, injury, destruction, and displacement are mounting. On the Israeli side, the fatality toll is more than 3 times the cumulative number of Israelis killed since OCHA began recording casualties in 2005. In Gaza, the reported Palestinian fatality toll of the past 17 days is more than double the total number of fatalities of the entire 2014, a war which lasted 50 days. Women and children comprise some 62% of these victims.
Oh, maybe it's like Ecuador. Maybe that was the one I couldn't read. I'm not sure. Is that Finland? There's something with an F over here. I'm not sure.
The number of those who are internally displaced has swelled to 1.4 million. Nearly 600,000 people are sheltering in UNRWA facilities in increasingly dire conditions. The average number of IDPs per shelter has reached 2.5 times the capacity. As my colleagues have repeatedly highlighted, there is nowhere to seek refuge in Gaza.
Oh, that's why we're going to open the borders of Egypt, right? That's why we're going to tell Egypt to open up her borders, right? That's no, I haven't heard that yet. Oh, there's no place to go in Gaza, but we won't tell Egypt to open up her borders. No, okay, yeah, okay.
When it comes to decisions on whether and where to flee, civilians are damned if they do and damned if they don't. Displaced families are reportedly returning to North Gaza due to ongoing bombardments because their basic needs, including safety, cannot be met in the south. I reiterate that civilians must be protected and have the essentials they...
And who have the possibility of opening up the borders to let these people in? Egypt! Egypt had the possibility to let these people in, have the aid that they needed, and so forth. And what did Egypt do? Did the opposite. Egypt is evil, wicked, is very evil, very, very wicked. I don't understand how these people can praise Egypt for all this, and that, and all that. I see them as a wicked evil playing the evil hand in this. And they praise to Egypt for this and that and all that. No, I want to see Egypt open up their borders. That would be praiseworthy. The rest of the bullshit is just, helping the conflict.
They need to survive, whether they move or if they stay. To give you an idea of the scale of destruction, according to the Gaza Ministry of Housing, at least 42% of all housing units in the Strip have already been either destroyed or damaged since October 7th. The scale of destruction calls into question the ability of people to ever return to their homes. Meanwhile, Gaza remains under a full electricity blackout. Hospitals are on the brink of collapse due to shortages of electricity, medicine, equipment, specialized personnel, and the damage and destruction. Patients are being treated on the floors due to a shortage of beds. Doctors are being forced to operate without anesthesia. Since the 7th of October, 16 health workers in Gaza have reportedly been killed and 30 injured while on duty. Mr. President, in the middle of this tumult, the agreement to use Rafah crossing from Egypt to get essential humanitarian supplies into Gaza has provided a glimmer of hope to people living in the appalling condition.
Yeah, could we talk about, getting those people out by the Rafah gate, about the Rafah crossing, I mean, is there anyone that want to talk about that? No. That's not an option, huh? Oh, bullshitters.
This past weekend, 34 trucks entered Gaza with life-saving supplies, and another 20 crossed Rafah into Gaza yesterday. 20 more of those are due to cross today. We welcome this important development, and we pledge to do our part to ensure these deliveries increase and continue.
Yeah, but that's not until Egypt, if they could just open up the borders for all these people, because we don't want to talk about that, right? We don't even want to talk about it just a little bit. No. No, don't talk about that. No.
But these deliveries are a drop in the bucket compared to the vast scale of needs.
Yeah, so what we can do is to open the border of Egypt, so let these people out so they can get all the aid on the other side in Egypt. In peacefully places where there's no bombardments or anything like that. What a solution, right? What a solution. Now, is that...
They amount to no more than 4% of the daily average volume of commodities entering Gaza prior to these hostilities. Needs are now, of course, significantly greater. And most crucially, the deliveries made over the past few days do not include fuel. That is essential for powering the services that are needed for people to survive. Without fuel, our humanitarian operation will stop. No fuel means no hospitals functioning, no desalination of water, and no baking.
Yeah, so we could actually open up a huge amount of things on the Egyptian border when people are coming down from Gaza into Egypt. We could have all the things available to help these people out and all that, but we don't want to do that.
Many people are drinking saline.
I think about it, you get humanitarian aid into Gaza and it might actually be blown up, right? Or it might actually go to Hamas, right? Which Israel is fighting and all that. So what is the solution for that? Yeah, well, let these people into Egypt, right? So the aid doesn't get destroyed. We have peaceful surroundings and it doesn't go to Hamas. Wow, what an idea. What an idea. Where did that come from? What an idea. Like a solution like that. Like, we have all these bullshitters from all over the world and none of them seems to be able to propose a real solution.
Groundwater, increasing the risks of diarrhea, cholera, and other health issues. We urge Israel to bring water and electricity supplies back to pre-conflict levels and to work with us to find a secure way of bringing fuel into Gaza. While we negotiate with the government of Israel as to how best to bring fuel into Gaza, we have 400,000 liters of trucks ready to go. We have 400,000 liters of trucks ready to go.
400 liters of trucks, is that in regards of fuel or whatever? In regards of, that of course would help the resistance, right? The so-called resistance against the Jews, right? Because, the Philistines are proclaimed resistance, right? Or the resistant and the Jews are the occupiers. That's you can already hear it in the words that they're using. These people in Gaza is just resisting the occupation, right? No, 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 no.
This would provide fuel for approximately 2.5 more days. If the civilians across Gaza are to get access to adequate food, water, medical care, and other essential supplies, we must be able to scale up deliveries of all goods, and we must be able to replenish fuel supplies. It will be important also that the Israeli crossings for the movement of people and goods are opened.
Whoa, did we actually get some part? Let's see here if we got that correct, right?
It will be important also that the Israeli crossings for the movement of people and goods are opened.
What? The Israeli side should open up for these people. Is that what we're going in the direction? We don't want to talk about the Egyptian border that they could open up, right? No. We want to have the Israelis open up for all these people who hate the Jews. What do you call it, by devilish hatred, right? Well, let's just open up these people into Israel. Yeah, that sounds like a not so good idea, But apparently, people can't think anymore. Apparently, it's just. I guess we also seen that before in regards of all the, the snake oil nonsense and all that, and masking and whatnot and all that.
Able to replenish fuel supplies. It will be important also that the Israeli crossings for the movement of people and goods are opened.
Oh, so the Israelis needs to open up for the movement of people. But let's not talk about Egypt in regards to the movement of people, right? No. It's hypocrisy. It's full of bullshit. They're just following what the Egyptian bullshitter is saying and doing and all that with his insane, he knows the solution, but he's pushing in the opposite direction, right? Oh, no, let Egypt, as he says, right, let Israel take these people into the Negev, which is the southern area of Israel. Yeah, I'm sure that won't, have any issues in regards to taking these people who hate the Jews, vehemently hate the Jews, and just take them into Israel, while the conflict is ongoing. I'm sure there won't be any conflict in regards to that or any issues, right? What is that? Yeah, it's just absolutely bullshit,
I want to express my utmost admiration for the bravery and extraordinary commitment of those delivering life-saving and humanitarian services in Gaza. This includes the incredible staff at UNRWA, many of whom are displaced themselves and who continue to support the most vulnerable despite it all. We must also pay tribute to the 35 UNRWA colleagues who have tragically been killed.
Interesting. That was actually an article where, in the regards of the southern of Gaza, where they were actually preparing in regards of getting refugees from Gaza. But apparently that seemed to have been overruled, and they didn't want to do that anyway, because political bullshit and all that, and we can't have these people move. We want to have the conflict continuing with Israel, and we want to push in the other direction. And we see all these bullshitting nations push in the wrong direction of dividing Israel, and also at least one I've heard in regards to taking the Golan Heights as well away from the Jews. Because the Jews are occupiers, right? We know the Jews are just occupiers, all of them, right? And blah, 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 blah.
Urge the council to redouble.
The whole foundation of Israel, or the Jews being occupiers to the Holy Land, is absolutely bullshit. And people apparently don't read the Bible anymore in regards to where is the Bible actually, where all the things in the Bible mostly happening in regards to the Holy Land, in regards to the land of Jehovah, which was given to the Israelites, and Jerusalem being the capital city of the Jews, of Israel. how many times is Jerusalem mentioned in the disgusting, filthy, blasphemous Quran? And how many times is it actually found in the Bible? Okay, I rest my case. There we go. Anyway,
funding to UNRWA and other humanitarian agencies on the ground without delay so they can continue these indispensable efforts. Mr. President, today of all days, when we celebrate the United Nations, we must all continue to demand respect for international humanitarian law. The parties on all sides must take constant care to spare civilians, including medical and humanitarian personnel, civilian objects, including homes, hospitals, and humanitarian assets. Civilians must have the essentials to survive, and to this end, the passage of rapid and unimpeded and increased humanitarian relief must be facilitated and water and electricity connections resumed. I urge all countries with influence to exert it and ensure respect for the rules of war. Mr. President, agreement on the resumption of aid deliveries and the release of a small number of hostages over the past few days shows that through diplomacy and negotiations, humanity can prevail, and we can find humanitarian solutions, even in the depths of this conflict.
Yeah, is he going to promote the two-state bullshit, depravity? Let's see.
In this spirit, I reiterate the Secretary General's call for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire to ease this epic human suffering. If we are to prevent any further descent into this humanitarian catastrophe, dialogue must continue to ensure essential supplies can get into Gaza at the scale needed, to spare civilians and the infrastructure they depend on, to release hostages, and to avoid any further escalation and spillover. The world is looking to the member states around this council to play its part in leading the way. Thank you.
At least we didn't. I don't think that was any in regards to the two-state solution bullshit being promoted. Right? I can't remember. I don't think she actually did promote that. So that's at least nice.
Thank me.
If that was the case. At least I don't recall she actually said anything in regards to the two-state solution. So at least that's, so far so good. Maybe she just forgot it. I don't know. But anyway, let's see.
This is Lynn Hastings for her briefing. And I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Riyad Al-Maliki, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates of the Observer State of Palestine.
How's this?
Mr. President.
So this is apparently state of Pakistanian that is now going to speak, apparently, it seems.
We are here today to stop the killing, to stop the massacres being committed against the Palestinian people.
Pakistanians.
The ongoing massacres being deliberately and systematically and savagely perpetrated by Israel, the occupying power.
Yeah, we call for Egypt opening up the borders so our people can flee to a safe place. Maybe.
Against the Palestinian civilian population under its illegal occupation must be stopped.
A legal occupation. Yeah. A legal occupation, right? Occupation. No, it's the Jewish homeland, and you are the occupiers. It's like the occupiers telling the other that they are occupiers, What is it called? In regards of when you actually flip it around, it's called something, right? When it's actually, when you are actually the occupier and you call the other one the occupier, right? While it's called something, I can't remember. When you blame the other side for being what you really are, And I'll see if I can find it. When you blame the other for your actions or something like that, it is called, let's see if we can find it. Projection. Oh yeah. Yeah, blaming others. Yeah, okay. So projection refers to attributing one's shortcomings, mistakes, and misfortunes for others in order to predict one's ego. I'm not sure how that, but somewhat of that nature in regards of projecting your own issues. What you are really, you're the you are the occupier, but you say that the others are occupiers. It's an occupation. No, you guys are the occupation.
Security Council has a duty to stop them. The international community is obliged under international law to stop them. It is our collective human duty to stop them. Now, continued failure at this council is inexcusable. Mr. President, we express appreciation to Brazil for convening this session of the Security Council and elevating its participation in light of the gravity of the situation we are facing. We thank the Secretary General of the United Nations for his sobering briefing and for his tireless efforts, and that of the UN agencies and humanitarian staff on the ground, particularly UNRWA, working round the clock under the most inhumane conditions to aid our people and uphold a minimum sense of humanity. We mourn with them the senseless killing of UNRWA staff and other humanitarian workers, including doctors, nurses, and paramedics, who were directly targeted by this ongoing barbarous aggression. They are heroic champions of humanity at a time of abject depravity. Mr. President, over 2 million Palestinians are on a survival mission every day, every night. By the time representatives are done delivering their speeches today, 150 Palestinians will have been killed, including 60 children. In the last 2 weeks, over 5,700 Palestinians have been killed, including over 2,300 children and 1,300 women. Compared to the population of Gaza, that is the equivalent of 145,000 British citizens or 700,000 US citizens. Almost all those killed by Israel are civilians. Over 1 million displaced, 170,000 housing units destroyed. Excellencies, only international law and peace are displaced. Killed by Israel are civilians. Over 1 million displaced.
Okay, 1 million, okay.
170,000 housing units destroyed. Excellencies, only international law and peace are worthy of your country's unconditional support. More injustice and more killing will not make Israel safer. No amount of weapons, no alliance will bring to it security. Only peace will. Peace with...
Yeah, in regards to the peace thing, who did what in regards to the 7th October? No, who did what, on a Sabbath and on the high holy day? Yeah, who did what? It's disgusting. It's a disgrace, You attack them on their high holy day and the Sabbath. Absolute disgrace and disgusting, filthy, evil. And at a time where you have multiple nations as well coming to Israel to show their support from all over the world. And that's where you want to attack the Jews, That's when you chose to attack them. Absolute disgusting and depravity and utter, evil, utter evil. And you want to comment,
Palestine and its people. The fate of the Palestinian people cannot...
By the way, some says it was Yom Kippur. It was not Yom Kippur. It was the last great day. You have 7 days of Sukkot, and then you have the last great day. That's the day, according to how the Jews are keeping it. That's the day they attacked on a Sabbath. So it was both the high holy day, the last biblical high day, high Sabbath, and a weekly Sabbath as well. Okay. So when people say it was a Yom Kippur and all that, that's not true, okay? But anyway, it was on the last high holy day. But yeah, it's still disgusting. It's just disgusting because these 7 days and the last great day is like a time of abundance and rejoice and party. Yeah, and what and yeah. And then these Philistines just thought that they would attack Israel on a double Sabbath, and on a double day of a high holy day and the weekly Sabbath.
Not continue to be disposition, displacement, denial of rights, and death. Our freedom is the condition of shared peace and security. You have all spoken of the Palestinian people's legitimate grievances, addressing them, of their legitimate aspirations, help achieving them, of their right to self-determination, support its real
Self-determination and all that seems to be one of the catchword for a two-state solution, But anyway, he's probably going to further proclaim the two-state solution, right?
realization. For those actively engaged to avoid an even greater humanitarian catastrophe and regional spillover, it must be clear that this can only be achieved by putting an immediate end to the Israeli war launched against the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip.
What? Who attacked who? Let me hear again. Who attacked who? Could we check? I guess my memory is just Let's see. Why is it that Israel is now attacking Gaza? Do you recall any event that maybe could have made the Jews, united against the Philistines? Do you have any idea that what was any event that might have happened that might actually have made Israel attack Gaza? Who attacked who first? I'm like, it's like, let's try to listen to this bullshit again.
Humanitarian catastrophe and regional spillover.
Yeah.
It must be clear that this can only be achieved by putting an immediate end to the Israeli war launched against the Palestinian people.
Oh, so the Israeli launched the war against the Philistinians. So what did you do on the 7th October? What did the Philistinians do on the 7th October? It was what is that just we don't want to talk about that, or we don't just forget about what happened on the 7th October? Those Jews just attacked us without any it's just bullshit.
In the Gaza Strip. Stop the bloodshed.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not sending rockets into Israel, still, right? You're not sending multiple rockets into Israel, right? And you're telling the Israelis to stop while you're still sending how many rockets? Was like 7,700 rockets, since 7th of October. 7,700 rockets. That's a good amount, isn't it? After your encounter an attack on Israel, and the butchering and slaughtering and evil acts of Mohammedanism against Jews,
There is no amount of humanitarian aid that can address the situation if more death, destruction, and devastation are imposed on our people in Gaza. There is no way to contain underlying tensions in our region if that reality does not change. There are so many fronts open for war and none for peace. Some of my colleagues spoke to me about the pain and anger of bereaved families. Every family in Gaza is a bereaved family. No one is spared. No one is safe. Where is the solidarity with them? Where is the empathy towards them? Where is the outrage for their killing? If these expressions are genuine, they cannot be accompanied by excuses for the killer and reasons for him to continue the killing. We should be on the same side, all of us who believe in justice and in peace, in the rule of international law, in the value and sanctity of human life. We should.
The words of this guy sounds kind of empty when you think about what they did on the 7th of October. It's like you just slide over what happened at the 7th October and like, oh, Israel attacked us, or they're committing a war against us. Yeah, but what is the cause of it, right? It's like a woman, right? They're playing the victim, right? While after she has done her deed, then she wants to play the victim, right?
Should stand shoulder to shoulder in these moments, but that is only possible.
She starts out playing the boss babe, right? And when the boss babe, then she goes into victim mode, right?
Possible if everyone recognizes,
like boss babe handing candy out and sugary stuff and celebrating and all that in regards to the murder of the Jews, and then we take out the victim card now because now they did something against us, yeah, and what is the reason for the Jews doing that,
the value of Palestinian life, the need to uphold Palestinian rights. This is only possible if you offer unconditional support.
Let me ask you something. You think the Jews would now be surrounding Gaza or most of Gaza if the Palestinians hadn't done what they did on the 7th of October? So that's that's a reason why the Jews are angry. It didn't just come out of nowhere that the Jews just, it just, it's like, it's the same thing when a woman has been hit by her husband or something like that, right? And it's like, there was no reason for it, If she was nagging him every single day and doing what women are, good at and all that, and attacking him on so many, attacking him verbally, and maybe actually hitting him as well, right? But that's okay for a woman to hit a man, but not for a man to just say, no, enough is enough, right? It's like playing the victim card. It's he hit me. Well, was there a cause maybe for doing it? Were there a cause? Did the guy get enough of it? Was there a point where he just snapped? And it's like enough is enough. And then, I'll play the victim card, right? Yeah, anyway.
To the rule of international law and the objective of peace, not to those breaching the former. And
yeah, I'm sure you were promoting lots of peace on the 7th of October, right? I guess you Palestinians were just promoting peace at the 7th of October, okay? With all your evil acts of the devil.
And destroying the letter. Sooner or later, you will have to admit that the interests of your countries and those of this Israeli government are not aligned, but rather opposed. The sooner you recognize it, the more lives can be saved, the more chance we have to walk back from the abyss. It may be hard to imagine in these circumstances a different reality. The effort and energy it would take, the difficult choices it implies, the political cost it carries, the changes to policies it entails. But as we said repeatedly, it is worth it because of the alternative, the one we are living in right now, the one the Palestinian people have been experiencing for decades. There is a reality where no Palestinians and no Israelis are killed, where all enjoy equal measures of freedom, peace, and security.
Are we leading up to this two-state bullshit?
That reality is the one that deserves all your efforts.
Oh, all your efforts for what? What is the thing that they want to do?
And all your resources.
All your resources, all your efforts and all your resources should be used for what?
Invest in peace, not war. Support justice, not vengeance. Stand for freedom, not justify continued subjugation and occupation.
Subjugation and occupation. There we go. Subjugation and occupation, right? Subjugation. Let's see. Subjugation. That was another word, right? Subjugation. Subjugation. Let's see. Subjugation. Subjugate. The meaning. Let's see. Huh? Bring under domination or control, especially by conquest. Oh, yeah, we have some words, right?
Billions of people from all faiths and all origins care about the fate of the Palestinian people. They measure against it all the statements and positions of your countries. They consider it the ultimate test for the values.
If those Mohammedan nations and pretty much the rest of the nations in the world actually cared for the Palestinians, they would let them into the Mohammedan nations and let them be naturalized.
One proclaims, and the norms we all enacted. In Gaza, under the rebels lies over 1,000 Palestinians, and all the values and all the norms. Under the bombs, 2 million Palestinians, and all the values and all the norms. Abandoning the Palestinian people is betraying those values and norms. You either rescue the international law-based order or leave it to die there. We thank all those who have taken an equivocal position and offered support, starting with the countries of our region, who understand more than any other the implications of the continued inhumane and barbaric attacks against our people. But
yeah, so let me hear, what was it? The 7th of October, and all those shooting of rockets and all that into Israel and all that, It's like you're saying you want to have a peacefire, right? But you still continue to fire rockets into Israel. So I'm not sure how that works out, Yeah, and the problem is with these so-called peace periods, it's just where they are regathering the resources for another attack. It's just a period of refixing things for another attack against the Jews. So, it is.
also countries across the globe, peoples in your streets, the moral voices of this world, please listen to them. You have families, and some of you evoked them when Israelis were killed. How you could not but think of your loved ones.
Oh, there was some Israelis being killed? Oh, I guess we didn't hear about that. What? Tell me more about that. What happened on the 7th of October? Can you tell us about what happened on the 7th of October? If you take if you distance yourself for that in regards of that it was horrible, wrong, and murderous, and butchering, and evil, and devilish, and all that. Could we have someone maybe say they're sorry for that? Maybe. Is there anyone that is sorry for what happened to those multiple Jews? Anyone? Now that we're talking about peace and all that, right?
And what pain and suffering you would feel if they had endured a similar fate. I am therefore convinced you cannot be numb to a reality where all the people you love, your parents, grandparents, siblings, children.
Yeah, again, the difference still is that the Israelis are trying to hit, to the best of their ability, military targets, whereas the other side goes for whoever they can in regards of making as much death and destruction, like children, civilians, just doing their thing, keeping the Sabbath, the day of rest. Just think about how disgusting it is for them to attack on the day of rest, purposely attacking on the day of rest and the high holy day, the last high holy day of the week. That's what they are. That's what the Jews are up against. People who just evil people.
Children, grandchildren, aunts, uncles, and cousins, and in-laws are all in danger of imminent death, or worse, have all been killed in one strike, in one instant.
It's like when you point out to the Philistines in regards to the 7th of October, they were, no, you need to take it as you need to take it in context. So it's like, we don't want to talk about the 7th of October, what happened there, right? We want to take it all in context, like that makes it better in regards to butchering and slaughtering and burning and beheading and, and so forward in regards to the Jews. The most, despicable things done. And, let's not talk about that, right? That's in regards of context. And when you talk about context, right? If you want context, that's the context. You want to take the context, that's the full context, pretty much. Okay? Huge amount of the context right there in the Bible, okay? Mohammedanism is Satanism, and that's just how it is.
That is happening repeatedly. Can you feel their pain? Can you imagine the day after for them, for that child who is the only survival for his entire family? Can you then imagine how we feel when anyone claims this is for the better? Can you imagine your loved ones besieged and bombed, deprived of the essential goods for their survival, their fate?
Yeah, let's just talk about, was there a reason? Because again, they don't want, he doesn't want to talk about, was there a reason why the Jews kind of totally went wild against you guys, Was there a reason why was there a reason why they are now doing what they are doing? Is there a reason? I don't know. Have any one of you heard about a reason why the Jews might be doing what they're doing at the moment? Anyone? Does anyone know about any reason why the Jews would be doing what they're doing at the moment? Like, it's just, I guess it just came out of nowhere. Yeah, I guess it was just like something that the Jews just wanted to do, right? Like out of nowhere, right? And there's a huge support for this, a huge support for ending this insanity in regards of Hamas. They're sick and tired of it. They're sick and tired of all the attacks, all the terrorist, evil, filthy things, blowing up of buses, civilian buses, and butchering and murdering these people, stabbing them and whatnot. The Jews are sick and tired of it, and they just want some peace, You're not letting them have any peace because you want to have them have fear in their hearts because you think that the Jews are occupiers. That's never going to work as a foundation, is it? If you look at them as occupiers, right? So, anyway, let's...
Dependent on decision to allow or prevent fuel, water, and food from entering with